Anoka Meals on Wheels, a nonprofit organization that I proudly support, delivers more than just nutritious meals to seniors in our community. They deliver connection, care, and peace of mind. Their volunteers don't just drop off food, they check in, share a smile, and ensure our neighbors know they're not forgotten. I know because I am one of those volunteer drivers. Help us keep serving those who need it most. Visit mowanoka.org to volunteer, donate, or learn more about Anoka Meals on Wheels, nourishing bodies and spirits one meal at a time.
From working in his family's Chinese restaurant, to bartending, to becoming present-day owner of Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric, my father's true superpower is human connection. Now, he's on a mission to capture the most fascinating stories that make up the Minnesota community. You're listening to the Twin City Tales podcast.
I'm excited to introduce you to our networking partner and master connector, Kendra Milesmith. She is currently doing great things at the Metro North Chamber of Commerce. Kendra has a passion for connecting people, and we are thrilled to have you on the podcast, Kendra. Welcome.
Well, thank you.
So you grew up in Coon Rapids, right in our backyard here.
Yes, I did. I have was not born here. I was born in Vietnam, but then was adopted and in Coon Rapids. So I've been here all my life, left for a little bit for college, but I am back and I'm here.
What was it like growing up in Coon Rapids?
You know, where I actually live now in Coon Rapids was all like trees, dirt, BMX trails, everything else. So it was kind of like every TikTok you hear about. My generation growing up, you came in when the street lights came on, you got kicked out at 8 a.m. and you drank out of a hose. So that's how it was growing up in Coon Rapids. But it was good. I had a good childhood. It's a lot more diverse now in Coon Rapids than it was when I was growing up. I would say that our house was United Nations, and that was about it for Coon Rapids then. But, you know, I'm glad to see the city become more diverse and open to other cultures.
You know, one thing I love about Coon Rapids, and my kids all went to Blaine, and we lived on that Coon Rapids border, but boy, that the dam, the Coon Rapids Dam, that regional park, what a great place to hike. Yeah,
it was a great place. I mean, I felt like, you know, growing up right next to the dam, it was a great playground.
Yeah.
So explored a lot of things, tested a lot of boundaries. That'd be a whole nother podcast, but it was good. It made you appreciate nature.
Yeah, and I think they just built a new community building there for that Coon Rapids Dam.
Yeah, it's more on the Brooklyn Park side.
Is that on the Brooklyn Park side?
So as soon as you cross over, it's on. So I live on the Coon Rapids side where they have the nature center, but then if you cross over the dam, then there's a brand new one. So
and they really shorted up too. I think they modernized the walkway and stuff like that,
yes,
so it's not as dangerous. And
there's a lot of great new walkways on the Brooklyn Park side, but you know,
yeah, it's good history there.
Yeah,
I mean that dam's been there forever, and I didn't even know this, but apparently Coon Rapids Boulevard was like the old trail for the ox carts to go up towards like St. Cloud and Brainerd or whatever.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
either.
I had heard that and read something about it. Don't take me for my word for it. I just that's what I'd heard, but probably have to do a little more history digging on that.
Fact checking.
Yes, you're gonna have to fact check me on that. You know, and you're right. Growing up in Hopkins too, you could see the diversity in Coon Rapids, Blaine. The diversity wasn't quite there back in the 80s, but now it's gotten a lot more diverse.
I remember running track in Coon Rapids, and again, not big on diversity, but I was high jumping, and I kept hearing my name, and Kendra is not a name that was very popular as well. So, you know, when you travel and you look through all the name plaques or the pencils or whatever, Kendra was never a souvenir name. You go under, it's like, well, do you want Ken? No, that is not my name. But there was somebody yelling, "Go Kendra!" And I was like, who is scream. And it was a girl from Blaine named Kendra. But I was like, that is not me.
Normally, well, same with Wyman. You can't find the pencil or the little Minnesota state name tag.
Yeah. Like, I want my keychain.
Yeah, and you know, it's kind of funny because you're obviously, for people that can't see the show, you're black and I'm predominantly Asian, and we kind of have that same, I think, growth in our community that's very predominantly white, and we do stand out whether we like it or not, just because people are judged immediately.
Yeah, what do they
that.
say? They judge you with the first 10 seconds they see you, they make a judgment.
Yeah. But I also feel like, to a certain extent, it was a blessing too, right? Like, growing up, we talked a little bit about assimilating or blending in.
Right.
Tell me your experience on that.
Yes, being the only, I would call myself Blasian, but girl in Coon Rapids, or in my class of 800. So, you could pick me out on a photo. It was funny, when I was in kindergarten, I was so excited to show my grandma my kindergarten picture. And I was like, Grandma, can you pick me out? And that's her favorite story because, of course, out of 24 white kids, there was me. But yeah, I think growing up, I was more of like, hey, I already know that I'm different in the room. And I would tell myself now, if I knew then, like, embrace that, where back then I kind of was like, okay, I don't want to stand out any more than I already naturally do. So if I had to go back, I'd be like, you know what, embrace your differences. But, you can't tell your 12-year-old self that, knowing it, 40 years later.
Yeah. And I feel like the same thing. I did that when I was younger, but I didn't do it in a sense of like that difference. I felt like I used a little humor, and I knew I was different, but it's like, I'm not one of them. I'm not fresh off the boat. Do you know what I mean? And, and of course, growing up playing cowboys and Indians in the neighborhood, and predominantly white, right? And obviously Wyman gets to be the Indian. And right? So it's us against you, Wyman. Or I get to be the cook, right? I get to be Hop Sing. But yeah, there's something to being different. But I think it also helped us in a sense where we did stand out. So we did learn how to be different also, and put yourself out there.
Yeah, I think I did, but I think it took going to college and just learning life lessons and being comfortable in my own skin for me to be like, it's okay to be different and be in a room where, I mean, it's kind of like, let's just say you're a white person, you walk into a black restaurant and you walk in, and the first time people are like, whoa, okay, what? And it's like, but like for us, that's how it is every single day, especially doing business in the North Metro. It's like the first time I walked into a different chamber, like it felt like the record stopped. And I was like, okay, well, this is going to take a while. But then I also learned that if I want to get to know people and to make them feel comfortable, I also was like, if I'm going to go in, I'm going to go all in, and I'm going to volunteer to be an ambassador, and I'm going to not force myself in, but get people to know me and just go for it. But if I was 100% uncomfortable, I probably wouldn't have been back.
But I think we also learned from that uncomfortableness when we were younger, because I sense a little bit of where, at least for me, it's about connecting, right? Like when you're different, you're like trying to figure out how to connect, being different.
Well, and I would say my experience probably is probably a lot different than somebody who would have moved in to the neighborhood, because I grew up in the neighborhood. So I grew up playing with our neighborhood had a lot of kids. So I grew up with the same kids. So going to school with them, I was like, oh, it's just Kendra, right?
Yeah.
So going from elementary school to my senior year, it's like I've always been in the neighborhood. So it wasn't like I was the new person coming in and trying to, and being in sports and, having those similarities and connecting in different ways.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you say that because I feel like for me, I grew up in the same neighborhood, but as you grew older, right, you end up going to like, well, back in Hopkins, you went from elementary school, Westview, which had like 8 different elementaries. Then you go into North Junior High School, which has a combined of different people. And I guess my perspective is more like, okay, I know I'm different. I know that they see me a certain way. How do I connect with them so that they feel connected with me? And I think sometimes I personally probably use more self-deprecating humor, some racial humor to create that, right?
Yeah.
Some people might just go, okay, if I don't say anything and I'm just a wallflower, I'll just kind of blend in. That's how I make the connection. Now, where do you feel like you fit in on that?
I probably was more the wallflower. Like I just wanted to be in the room, but just like, oh, I'm gonna go with the flow, and yeah, this sounds great. But I also feel like just being in sports, it helped to make those connections with people that you're in the same team with, because then, it's forced fun.
Yeah, and I think guys look at it differently because when I was in sports, I felt like, played different, involved in different activities. I felt like it was more of a challenge. And I felt like, and maybe guys are a little different. Like you get a lot of racism when you're on the football field or when you're on the baseball field. There is.
Oh yeah, I mean, my son went to Coon Rapids, and I didn't know it, but they would tell me, like, even especially on the football field, like what they would say when you butt up helmet to helmet. Like, it's kind of like watching The Blind Side, right?
Yeah.
Was what it was. But I did track and gymnastics, so it wasn't so much, being on the field where parents or judges or whoever can hear you.
Yeah. On the field, on baseball and football, it's a lot different because you're a little more closer in connection with them, and
right, and
it's away from
the coaches and the parents and the umps or whatever. So but yeah, no, I feel like girls are probably different than boys too.
Yeah,
I mean, we're competitive, but we're also. But then girls can be very, very catty as well. So
true.
There is mean girls. I'm not gonna say we're all
right
lovey-dovey, but yeah, no, I mean it my experience, and like if you talk to there's 5 of us, and we all 5 siblings probably have a different experience going. And my sister hated high school, so and she was white, so it's every experience is a little bit different,
and how you make of it, right? Like what your impression is, it really changes the outcome, right? You can go into something like, this really sucks, it's gonna suck, right? Or you go into like, this is the best thing, I'm gonna make it what it is, I'm gonna make it the best thing ever, right? And that's what starts getting you to be, right? So that's what your impression on it is. Do you feel like part of what you learned back then, because the point being is like, we both probably had to learn how to connect in many different ways, more so than how other people take it for granted of connecting, right? Like we worked a little bit harder to connect because we were different.
Yeah. I don't think I had to so much again in high school or in school. It was probably more once I got into college and into corporate world is where I had to figure out how to make those connections, because I feel like I grew up with such a big group of people that I was connecting with them from a young age. Because we stayed in the same house, we were in the same community. But when I went off to college, it was like, oh, it's a whole different animal. It's like I had to figure out those connections and figure out how to relate with people, whether it's like, oh, you like to go to the club too?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or being in the same major or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It was, and connections in college was a little bit harder too, because I was a single mom in college. So I went to the U of M, and some of them are like, oh, I can't let my mom know that my boyfriend stays over, otherwise she won't pay my rent. I'm like, well, that's nice. Like, I'm a single mom paying my rent and working. So,
And working out, yeah.
so, but just trying to figure out those connections. So I probably worked harder at making connections once I got into college and, into corporate world.
But then understanding that and then now doing what you do for them, because when I first met you, I can just tell you had that sense of like confidence and you connected people. And I remember meeting you at the chamber and you were just like, hey, this person would be really, you guys should talk, right? And
Yeah.
that's who you are. But by doing that and by going through what you went through in your college days of learning how to connect at a higher level, that's what do you feel like that was a big part of?
Probably, but I also probably have more of empathy for people who, like, when they walk in the room and they don't know, like, ooh, like, what am I walking into, to make them feel comfortable? Probably because I've walked into so many rooms and been like, okay, what am I doing here? Like, who am I going to talk to? Like, how am I going to connect with somebody? So that when I see that look in someone's face, I can be like, oh, let me help you. Let me see. Or, there's the introverts that will just go straight to a chair or straight to the corner and look at their phone, where I can be like, hey, is this your first time here? Because I know I've had that feeling where walking into a room and not knowing, and like, okay, I'm just going to stand by the wall and be a wallflower. And I also, like, I've always been that type of person, like, to observe the room before I even like work a room. I don't that makes it sound bad, but not working the room, but like, I just need to know, like, okay, who's running the show, who seems like the person I need to connect with, what's the dynamics in this room. So that normally if I walk into a room that I don't know, that's what I've learned, probably walking in the room from a young age of, like, ooh, the record stopped.
Yeah. And it's almost like, I feel like it ties into finding acceptance, right?
Right.
And that's what...
And it's like looking for that person, like, oh, who am I going to... She looks like a person I can maybe connect with. And, maybe I'll go sit over there because we can start up a conversation.
Yeah. And you fine tune that at a young age, I think. But I think with being different, like we somewhat are by the being judged right away, you're already looking for that. Not that it's good or bad. It's just what our narrative is, what our perception of what life is, right? And again, if you fit in because of your looks, and you could still feel that way, but my point being, it's sometimes easier to overcome that when you don't stand out. It's easier to overcome acceptance sometimes because of that.
I mean, and I guess it depends on what you're looking for when you go into the room.
Yeah.
Because you come to working with women, but you want it to be working with women. So
I do call it that. That's my pretentious side of me. That's that ego of me talking, right?
So, it depends on, and you having that ability to walk in the room and have the confidence to be like, it's working with women. I'm here. This is how it's going to be today.
And it's interesting that you say that, because when I first went to that group, and it's a lot of women there.
Oh,
and
there was 64 today.
Oh, was there 64 today?
Yeah.
I think if you walk into a room like that as a male, doing business, it's intimidating. And when I first did that a few years ago, what I found was, like, that first day I walked in, I'm like the shoes on the other foot now. And it's like, I got to be careful what I say. I can't give, I don't want to say wrong impression. I can't, part of it is reading the room, but there's still an intimidation factor there. So I can see how a woman walk into a male-dominated business networking group feels. It's not comfortable right away, and with you being able to, like, make people feel comfortable when they walk in, that's just an added layer of, wow, I can feel good about being a part of this networking group. So that's what's really amazing.
Yeah. I think a lot of, and the committee members, and, you always get feedback on how things are. And one of the feedbacks we always got was, like, it needs to be more welcoming. So we've worked really hard to do that, even, whether you're male or female walking in the room, like, we just want to make sure that everyone always feels welcome.
Yeah.
So, because, you could be a woman walking into a woman with 60 women in a room and they're all buzzing away. And, you know, you could be like, oh, am I in the right room?
Yeah.
Like,
And it's so funny because the little details of things matter, right? Like
right.
going to some networking groups, they always say don't stand like face to face, especially if if you belong to that group, you should stand at kind of an angle, like a Y, so that it's an open circle rather than a closed.
Like, oh, they're having a serious conversation, so I don't want to butt in. And
yeah.
And it's good to, especially if you're used to being in a whatever networking situation, if you are like reading the room for newbies to even go in and be like, if you're confident enough, but just like, hey, you know, what brought you here today versus like, hey, what do you do? What's your business? Give me your pitch right now.
Yeah. And nobody likes that. And
No.
there's people that do put that on you without even asking for it. And so, that's not always a good way to connect either. Because like, whoa, you're creeping me out. You know?
And, you know, that's what flows naturally. You know, but it's that whole mindset of changing it. Like, hey, what brings you here today? Like, oh, who invited you? Just to try to start the conversation going. I always say once you get people talking, like I'm on a board and I like to start our meeting with icebreakers, just because I feel like when people start talking, they get comfortable in the room. So then when they do have questions or they have something they want to say, it makes it feel more. But then, you know, you get people talking and sometimes you just can't get them to stop either.
Right. You're ringing the bell as loud as you can. Time's up. Time's up. Shutting the lights off. So, and that's why you're a master networker, because you understand those little concepts of just the details of how to bring in people and start networking with them or having them network.
Yeah. But I've been doing it for a long time. So it's not like it's like, oh, overnight. It's just, you know, I've walked again into situations where I'm like, oh, this does not feel comfortable. You know,
Right.
Like, how can I make this different? And then, and I've walked into ones that are super great and fabulous. And it's like, you take those little bits and you just kind of mesh them together. But I also, have been networking before I even knew I was networking.
Yeah.
So it was like when I was working corporate America, I didn't realize I was networking. And I was like, when I go back and I think about it, I'm like, oh, I was networking.
Yeah.
Like,
and the one thing I noticed about you, Kendra, is that I feel like the passion that you bring to networking isn't so much just like that passion. It's like you get a joy or a real, I think more of a high, if I can call it that.
Yeah.
In connecting people.
Oh yeah. I love that's like, if I can make a great connection and it helps somebody else grow or even just open a door or opens a door to another connection, like that's when I'm like, okay, that was great. And what most people don't realize is like, that's free. Like,
absolutely.
That's free. Like you're not, you know, you can't always open your wallet to everybody you meet. You know, I don't need a new HVAC system right now, right?
Right.
But if I can connect you with somebody, like I can help you build and grow, and that's what I love to see people have those connections and grow their business or grow whatever they're trying to do.
And the one thing I think that I feel like I connect with you on is that you are genuine. Authenticity, right, is a big part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's really like, and it's that whole, you know, that what do people say? Oh, givers gain.
Yeah.
So the more you give, and if it comes back, it comes back. If it doesn't, you know.
You should never expect it.
Yeah.
And
except a thank you every once in a while. But that's for my kids. No, they're good. They're good at saying thank you.
And we hear this all the time. Like, just because you walk into a room and like, I think it happens with like BNI or paid networking groups. Mm-hmm. You walk in, it's not, you shouldn't automatically expect that you're going to get referrals. Yeah.
It's like, and yeah.
I think too many people feel that way. Like, and that's like before even the connection. Yeah. But I think it's your job to connect with them. If you have a brother that does electrical work, guess what? I don't expect you to use Twin Sea Heating and Electric to do electrical, but I do hopefully build a good enough connection with you that if your brother's too darn busy or doesn't really want to do the work, I want to be that first one you think of, right? Because that's what it really is, building those referrals.
Well, and just like you said, it's, I do a lot of networking 101 classes, and the one thing I say is, like, you can't walk into a room and expect it to rain referrals, right? And the only reason why people will refer you is when they know, like, and trust you. And if you don't give them the opportunity to know, like, and trust you, don't expect to get those referrals. Like, it breaks my heart when people are like, oh, this doesn't work for me. I haven't gotten anything out of it. And I'm like, that's such a bummer. But, like, what have you done? What have you put into it? Like, have you met anybody for coffee? Have you given any referrals? Have you tried to collaborate with anybody? Like, what have you put into it? And then, a lot of people, depending on whether you do the paid every week, every other week, once a month, it's going to take time to get those referrals to happen, because I've told the story so many times, but it's one of those where it's like, your referrals, the one who you give referrals to, it comes back to you. I gave 2 fencing guy to my dad. They came to the chamber and I was like, oh, here's 2 cards. I mean, I haven't used them personally, but you said you needed, so he called them. Neither one of them showed up for their appointment. And so then when he needed a plumber, I'm like, oh, I know a plumber, which I actually knew the plumber. Yeah. And my dad's like, well, I know how your referrals work, so I'll go ahead and figure it out myself. Just like, I'm like, what?
Wow. So there is something to, like, the trust building in that.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, if you screw up, if the person you refer and that person makes you look bad, you may not be able to have that trusted referral again.
Right. Like, okay. And, I will probably say, not for the chamber, but I probably get a text, a call, or an email, 5 times a week on, like, hey, do you know a person? Hey, who do I connect with for this? Hey, and again, it's because I've been networking for a very long time, but it's just like, I always give people, if it's a big job, I'm like, here's 2 people, call them and you interview them, and I tell my referral partners that, like, I normally, if it's financial advisor or insurance or whatever, I'm like, I give them a couple names because it's a big decision and they have to make the right ones. But I also want them to have the options where it's like, here's a couple names, you make the decision. I don't want you to come back to me and be like, why did you refer that person to me?
Right. and that person that you did refer needs to be at a high level and say, hey, it has to attack it. Otherwise, your reputation's on the line.
Right. And if I know, like, if, I know a lot of realtors, and if, I've had someone say, why didn't you refer me? I'm like, I know your personality and I know their personality, and I know it probably wouldn't be a good match, so it's a hard thing when you're out there networking to make everybody happy. But I think when you're upfront and you tell people right away, like, hey, I give a couple names. So just because we're networking partners, I love that we're networking partners, and I expect you to do the same, especially like when I was doing business development for a mortgage company, for Fairway Mortgage. If they're like, hey, I gave your name and another, realtors said that I gave your name and this person's name. Okay, great. Thanks for giving us the opportunity. Yeah. And you have to win the business. It's just not automatic,
Right. And to get that, I just keep thinking, to win that opportunity, in all reality, it still comes back to, how do you connect with people?
Right.
How do you connect with that referral source, or even that referral source connecting with you?
Right. Well, and if you have to connect with them, because again, if I don't really know you, I don't know if I should refer you.
That's another good point. And, there's so many things in marketing too, like, how are you going to know me if I don't show up?
Right.
I mean, the only way somebody's going to be able to buy from you, even have the opportunity, is to know you, right? If they've never heard of you.
Well, and that's like, kind of like, you've probably felt this, where you've seen people come in and out of a networking group where they visited once and it's like, oh, I didn't get any referrals, and they never come again. Yeah. And they're like, well, why didn't you refer me? And it's like, well, you popped in once. I didn't know if you're actually still in the business, if you're still around. Like, I didn't know what your goals are, what you're trying to do. Like, if I don't know you, I can't refer you.
And what's really interesting is even going a little further than that is there'll be people that come into the group and then they'll leave and go, that group really sucks. Like
Yeah.
but part of it is they never connected with anybody, right?
Right.
So I don't think any networking group is bad, and I don't think any networking group is great.
Right.
I think
Well,
it's what
except
you
for
make.
no, I'm just kidding.
Metro, but it's what they make of it and the
like-
culture that it's created, right?
Right.
That's what makes it, and it all still comes back down to how do you connect? How do you connect with somebody?
Yeah. It's the opportunities that are given to you and you make the most of them. Just
Yes.
kind of like what you said. It's like, how do you make the most of the opportunity that's in front of you or the situation that's in front of you?
Absolutely. Wow, a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff here. We'll take a break here, and then we'll be back.
Okay.
Tired of lugging heavy bags of water softener salt from the store? Twin Sea Heating, Air, and Electric now delivers premium water softener salt right to your home in returnable, reusable 20-pound containers to go green and light it up to save you from injury. Serving the north suburbs, we're your neighbors who know how hard our water is. No more running out of salt and dealing with spotty dishes and stiff laundry. Quality salt, reliable delivery, local service you can trust. Because at Twin Sea Heating, Air, and Electric, we don't just keep your home comfortable, we keep your water soft and your life easy. Twin Sea Heating, Air, and Electric, now with water softener salt delivery. Call today or visit us online. And we are back with Kendra. And this is the part of the show where I get to get your reaction to some pictures that you might not have seen in a while. Some of you might have seen pretty recently, but I am going to go down that road.
All right.
All right. Are you ready?
Ready.
So this first one looks like you're in a green background, but I like the sash.
Oh,
I think it was in Chicago.
it was in Chicago. This is my jewelry days. Which this is when I did a lot more. So it's probably been 20 years, or 19, whatever. I go by the girl's birthday. When I left corporate America, I went and did a direct sales jewelry company. So that was then. So that was an award ceremony on a boat in Chicago.
So I have to admit that I realize you've done so many different things, including like answer phones for a heating and air company, but also I just thought about this. It's kind of funny because I remember going to look for a gift for my ex-wife a while back, and I went to, was it Nordstrom's or Macy's, one of the two down at the Mall of America, and I was looking for jewelry, right? And then I said, oh, there's this cool older looking jewelry. I think they call it maybe 1919 jewelry. And the lady was really snobbish, like, oh, I don't think we carry that. And then I talked to her a little more. Oh, you might be looking for costume jewelry. You might have to go to Walmart or Target for that. Like, really? You're that pretentious?
Oh my goodness.
But it was
She must not worked on commission.
I don't know. All I know was, God, that was kind of a little demeaning for somebody, right?
Yeah.
Oh, costume jewelry. I never knew the difference. Costume jewelry, really? What's the difference? But whatever.
Well, costume jewelry will fade on you. So.
Is that what it is?
Well, it's not made of the best. I call it more of disposable jewelry.
Okay.
Something that if it breaks or whatever, you're not going to worry about getting it fixed and you toss it.
Right. I just thought that was very demeaning for her to say that to a guy who's just trying to look for a gift for.
Well, and I've learned,
wife.
You can't judge a book by a cover, because I've had people where I'm like, they are not going to buy a piece of jewelry from me, and like, oh, wow, you're my biggest spender. So, you can't. And she didn't know what you did, so how would she know how much you'd spend?
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of cool. So the sash is from from.
Yeah, it was award. Yeah.
So you understand how business works. That's what's really cool about you being in the Metro Chamber, right? In North Chamber. This one is a modeling picture, from what I understand.
Well, that one is actually Amber, who is now a realtor. She was a photographer, took that picture. Is that one, or was it a Mary Kay makeover night, and they were doing pictures. I have no idea.
So this is a headshot of you for those listening, and looks like about 2011.
It probably was like, Mary Kay, come do a makeover, and then we'll take a picture.
Okay. So you're connected with a lot of these little businesses and understand that part of the business. Okay, so this one, hopefully you like this one. I know I pulled this from your Facebook, but I thought it was so cute, and I like Aaron, so, and it must have been when you guys were really young.
Yeah, that was we were really young, and I can tell by the jewelry. So that was probably, what was that? I don't know. That might have been 16 years ago. Not sure where we're at, but.
And you were young then.
Yeah, we were young. I'm trying to remember, but probably a wedding.
Okay. So going that far back or even further, I mean, obviously you've grown into who you are with how you connect with people, and I'm sure you connected with people differently back then. If there's one piece of advice you could have given yourself back then, what would it be?
One piece of advice. I think to be comfortable in your own skin. I mean, it took me a while. I would say probably selling jewelry is what got me comfortable in my own skin. So, you go to college, you go to corporate, and you still have to kind of be in the same box of, like, oh, this is what we do at corporate. This is what we do, selling jewelry. I met a ton of different people. I ran the business how I wanted to run it, and it just was able to let me grow and be myself. So, I don't know. I think it would be like trying to get comfortable in your own skin a lot sooner than it was. But I guess, every journey is different. So I probably needed that journey to get to where I am today.
To learn who you are, yeah.
But yeah, probably just to be comfortable in your own skin.
Would it be fair to kind of summarize it as just be true to yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. You are and comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
Love it.
And go with it. Just go with it. Who cares? Because really, when you look at it at the end of the day, who cares?
I think it's easier said when you're at our age than it is when you're like 18 and like people are like going, "What are you wearing? Man, that looks like..."
Yeah. What are you doing? Who is she? Or, well, being judged really as a young single mom, being judged early in life for that. So just...
I think any kid, right? Like,
yeah.
Every kid feels that being judged feeling. It's hard.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's great advice. Just, it's very sage. Just be true to yourself. Don't think about what other people... And it's so easy to say,
it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
And I try to tell that to my other kids. Like, like, you're fine. Nobody's going to remember this. I mean, they may, but it's not going to be,
Especially if you have your fly down and people notice that. That's not always that. They remember that.
Yeah. If you have a sibling, they're going to remember for the rest of your life.
Yes.
But.
And they'll remind you too.
Yes.
So one of our few last questions, there's 2 questions left. And I think it's what our podcast is really about. And what our podcast turned out to be is a connection question. So tell me about a time where you might have made an unexpected connection that changed your perspective and opened doors. Because I think that's perfect for Metro North Chamber networking.
I would have to say it's probably not a single person or a single time, but what I feel like, if I think about it, it's probably when I didn't want to go through a door or got offered a door and was like, no, I'm not doing that. And then realizing, oh, that might have been. So which is funny, Aaron used to do the weekly networking, and he was always like, I need to find a referral. I need to do this. I need to do that. And, got up early, and I was like, I'm never doing what he's doing, because he's always like, do you know somebody who needs this? Do you know somebody who needs that? I got to find a referral. And I'm just like, that's stupid. Like, why are you going to a meeting and not giving like a legit referral? Right. And he was always like, you need to do this. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. And then when I was on bed rest, he was like, you need to sell jewelry. and it was actually the company, Zapata, the company I went with. And I was like, I am not selling jewelry. Well, a year later, I started selling jewelry, right? And then I started networking. So it's kind of like, and I've always found like the biggest blessing is when you're like, I do not want to go to this event. I do not want to go to this meeting. And then you go and you're like, oh, this actually, it's kind of like the universe trying to test you to see how bad you want something. And then you actually do it. And then you're like, oh, that wasn't, I mean, it doesn't always work out that way, but I've learned the biggest blessings, like whether something actually came out of it or I made a connection that was really great, is normally the ones where I'm like, I kind of resist doing it.
Interesting.
Like, I'm just tired and I just want to go home and I don't really want to pop into this. And I was like, oh man, that was amazing.
I never, as you started telling me that, what kept flashing on my mind was we're all like, wow, product from the 80s, right? And watching Gilligan's Island, and you see Gilligan, they fade into him, and he's going, you can't make me, you can't make me. And then they fade back out, and he's doing that, and he's saying, you can't make me, you can't make me. That's what I kept thinking about, right? Whatever it is that the skipper was making him do, right?
Yeah.
They'd fade in and go, you can't. He'd be saying, you can't make me, and they'd fade out. He'd be doing what he was saying, you can't make me, and he'd be going, you can't make me.
You're like, yeah. But yeah, I think it's actually sometimes just actually getting out of your comfort zone or getting out of your own way and just doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's things that we look at that, oh my gosh, I can never do it, but then you're forced to do it, and it just makes you that much better and stronger.
Yeah, like networking, I was like, I would never network. Like, that sounds horrible.
But now you're a master networker, which is incredible.
But who would have thought that, 20 years ago?
Well, I didn't know you 20 years ago, but I could see that that's what you do, and that's you're damn good at it.
But I'm just saying, it's like, never say never, right?
Right. Who is someone you would love to hear or see on this podcast?
So, through the chamber, I met somebody. It's funny. Quick story. We're doing our fifth Friday where we're doing a networking event at a different location, and they were hosting it, and I couldn't find, it was at a townhome, and I couldn't find the townhouse, couldn't find it, whatever. Finally get it, tried to drag everything up, and I'm like walking, and this kid you can tell when somebody has charisma, right? You can tell but he was just like, hi. And I was like, hi, is this the right spot? Assuming that he worked there just because he just looked like he worked there.
Yeah.
And he just answered my questions nicely, and I was like, that kid has something, but didn't ever really have a chance really. Then found out, he's an intern for one of our chamber members.
Midwest Imaging.
Yes.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yes, Marcus Michael. Yes.
He is awesome. What a fantastic kid.
And so
I shouldn't call him a kid.
No,
he's a fine young man.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he was somebody that actually 2 months later sat down and had coffee with, and has an amazing story. So you should hear his story. His connection of how he's actually where he is today and where he came from, it's huge. It's a good one. And he's, like I said, he has the charisma. So knowing him and introducing the world to him young, they can watch and see where he's going to grow, because I can see him go far. I've
had a conversation with him too, and I am really impressed. And he's not even supposed to be here. The stuff that, because he he came from Africa, I believe. Yeah. And he had a lot of illness.
Yeah.
And he got put on a plane, and don't quote me on this, but I'm understanding it was maybe Sean Penn.
Yep.
Yeah, sponsored it.
Yeah.
And got him over here.
Yeah.
And now he's just a fine young man working with Scott Vonderhaar over there at Midwest Imaging. And even that's a miracle story, because Jeff Salzburn, another person that we'll have on the show, and he helped facilitate me buying this building. He connected them by helping him at a high level. And Marcus grew up in a small town in Wisconsin, just the right place at the right time, and always having a great attitude of gratitude. That's the one thing I recognize about Marcus immediately.
So he would be fun to have on your podcast, and
I definitely
letting the world know what.
Yes.
I mean, and he has overcome many hurdles, and he still has a smile on his face.
Yes, agreed. Oh, fantastic young man. No, well, Before you go, I do have a little something for you. A little attitude of gratitude again. And the first thing is, I always have this little trophy for just coming on the show.
Oh, well,
just a thank you for being on Twin City Tales. And I know one of the things you are now is an empty nester.
Oh, yeah.
And that you talked about, like, you want to do a lot more traveling.
Yeah.
So some of the local stuff in this area, in the United States, I figured maybe you can go through that and give you a little more inspiration on traveling.
This is cool.
500 or 50 states with 5,000 ideas of travel.
Yeah,
from National Geographic.
That's perfect. Thank you. That's awesome.
It'll
That's
be
very
fun.
sweet.
I really
Aaron will really enjoy this because he'll dig in and he'll be like, "Oh, did you know?"
I tend to do that too to my wife, so I know the feeling. And he probably gets really excited about all these different spots. And it'll be fun to travel. Yeah,
there'll be like tags all over the place.
Well, again, Kendra, I can't thank you enough for being on our show, Twin City Tales. If you want to learn more about Kendra and the Metro North Chamber of Commerce, you can find Kendra on LinkedIn, Kendra Miles Smith, or go to the metronorthchamber.org. Again, that's www.metronorthchamber.org, or visit us on our Twin City Tales Facebook page, and we will post that in there. And as we roll out of here, as usual, I want to thank you, Chris Hockey, for the use of his song Thanks, with no pun intended. This podcast is powered by Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric, now with water treatment systems and salt delivery. Basically, all your mechanical room needs in your home to keep your family safe and comfortable. Until the next show, you can't go wrong with Wyman Wong on Twin City Tales Podcast.
This song goes out to my family.